Hey
Yay!
all,
You
it's
doing?
Christmas time and it's a time for sharing, and therefore, this is our special session. The hotels in India have got extremely busy in the last few months, and I'm going to talk today to my favorites, Sonia and Heral, who are human resource managers at two very reputed hotels in South India. What is more important is that they have reached here through a very unusual career beginning. Sonia was in the front office, and Herald was once a hygiene manager. Let's hear from them on how they transitioned to HR and rose to these kind of levels. Sonia, tell us about your career journey briefly.
So for starters, I grew up in Bombay. I did my education there, and I did join St. Xavier's College of Mumbai, and I was an art student, and I had no clue what I wanted to do. But then one day, I had the Oberoi group that came over to the hotel for an orientation. They had started this program called the S.T.E.P program. This opportunity, and I joined S.T.E.P training in Kerala. That was in Trident Hotel in Kochi. So I was a part of the hotel operation training, and I really enjoyed my training because it was an on-job training. I was there learning, experiential learning, and everything was happening, and it was all going really fine until the program got completed. Then I joined Trident Bandra Kurla Complex. They are a pre-opening property. I joined them as a food and beverage associate. That's a waiter. I worked there for 2.5 years in their Italian restaurant called Porticino. It was really nice. I had a very great foundation. But then there came a phase where I thought, I don't know if I want to do this. Let me try something new, and that's when I took a break and I joined TCS for a year and a half. But a hotelier at heart will always be a hotelier at heart. We will never be able to leave our hotels and go and work in a corporate company. So then I decided to come back to the hotels. I had a lot of friends in the hotels still. One of them helped me and spoke to me about the opportunity that's there in Park Hyatt Hyderabad, a pre-opening property in front office as a team leader. So because I was very passionate and happy about the role I was, I actually performed well, and in less than a year, I got promoted to a duty manager in the apartments. While I was playing the role of a duty manager, I also got the opportunity to play the role of a trainer in my front office. Okay, so I took up training. I got certified. I became a certified coach in my department. And every day we used to do a lot of trainings, a lot of skill trainings. We used to do a lot of audits, these LRA audits, and we used to work towards improvising the systems in the departments. While I did that is when I understood that I can really be very good at training as well, and I developed a passion for it. And that was a phase when in Hyatt they were looking for a lot of people from the operational backgrounds who could come towards training. And that's when the training manager got moved. Rakshit Saw was a training manager. He moved to the human resources section as the HR manager, and there was a vacancy. When I showcased my interest, Andrew Kaushik, my DOHR then, he recognized that skill and the talent in me, and he gave me an opportunity to become a training manager. That's when the journey of a training manager began. Worked there in Park Hyatt Hyderabad for about 3 years as a training manager. So in overall, I spent about 6.5 years. I then got an opportunity to join Grand Hyatt Kochi as a part of the opening team. Joined them as a training manager. When I came there, I had spoken to Sujit, who's my DOHR, currently a cluster DOHR. I told him that that Sujit, I would not want to be in training forever. I want to do something different. I really want to move towards HR. And by that time in Park Hyatt, I had already learned some skills of HR. So I managed to prove myself. And again, in 4 or 5 months, I was given the opportunity and I became an HR manager. And my journey as an HR manager began then until now. And then I am now currently working as a human resources manager at the Hyatt Regency Trivandrum, an independent role, which I'm really proud of. And and I do get a lot of feedback that I'm doing really well in this role.
Great. Herald, this question now to you. So tell us about your career transition. How did this really take place?
Okay. My career has been really very complex because I started my journey with the International Hotel in Doha, Qatar. So before that, I completed my post graduation in microbiology. So I was since being a microbiologist, and I wanted to go into a scientific field. And initially, I got the campus interview and was placed in Fisheries Biotechnology Center in Tuticorin, where 2 years I did research work in Biotechnology Center. Then, since it was a project work, I had to complete the project, and then I had to move away. So I had to search for something for my career profession again. So which I thought of, with my relatives, they being there in Middle East. So I went to Dubai in search of a job. So finally, I got a job in Intercontinental Hotel in Doha. It's one of the best hotels in the city those days, and got as a hygiene manager. And I was the first hygiene manager there. And I worked for almost 5 years there. And due to some personal reasons, I thought of coming back to India. And when I came back to India, I got an opportunity in the same Intercontinental group in Holiday in Kochi. Got a call from one of our friends, Andrew Kaushik from Hyderabad. And he just called me on a surprise and they told me, can you come to Hyderabad to help us? I said, yeah, normally I don't move, I have no experience of moving a company or hotels in 1 year time. So it was a little challenging for me. So I said, okay, when Andrew is calling, then I can't say no. So I said, okay, surely I'll come. And went there and he took care of me. And even in there, I had to start everything new. So third hotel, I am just building everything from the scratch. Yes, I worked as a profession, but I didn't think that I had a great passion in doing that. So what I thought, and then I was thinking where I can, find my passion, where I can build my career with a new beginning, and where I can take it beyond. Where I looked into, and I couldn't see many. I couldn't see many departments where I can thrive better than human resources, where my heart was there with people. Because even when I was in hygiene, I was very connected to the people. So I was thinking, if I can get connected to the people, the best place to be is only HR. So I had a thought, but it was not a planned transition. And suddenly it all happened. And one day I discussed with Andrew. And Andrew also told me, I thought of asking you myself. And we both of us had the same feeling. That he also thought I can do much better in human resources. But I also thought I can get a career growth in human resources. That's how the transition started. But I was really, really nervous when this transition was happening. Because you're moving from a zone where you're very, very comfortable. Because with the 8 years of knowledge, you're quite comfortable where you can tackle any situation. And you're moving to a field where you have zero knowledge. It is not going to be easy. And when I joined, even after I joined, I was really, really nervous. But only possibility of moving that nervousness was my team in human resources team in Parka, Hyderabad. So entire team members, all the way from, if I mention, Andrew Kaushik was there, then we have Manish Jain was there, then Rakshit Sa, Debasmita, Sneha, Bharadwaj, and later Sonia joined with us. And it was a great team. And the team was helping me grow. So within 1 year time, I could learn these two fields quickly because I understood where my challenges are there. I understood where I have to learn. I focus on my learning. And I focus on where what I was lacking.
So, Bharal and Sonia, while I feel that you clearly mentioned that it wasn't really planned when you started your career, but things really happened as years went by, as your interest kind of started to be visible to your other colleagues in certain areas, and you gradually also transition. My question to you is that between you are a microbiologist and Sonia, you've kind of done graduation and then of course this curriculum with S.T.E.P. Did you have to upskill yourself from a knowledge point of view to learn something about HR? Did you do any courses?
Me, yes, I did do courses, but I didn't do a course to get the role. So, for example, when I moved from operations to training, I did this course after I became a training manager is when I took up a course to know more about the field, that is ISTD, that is Indian Society of Training and Development. There is this college in Delhi that provides good training courses. Okay.
Karan, what did you sort of go through?
I did a course actually because I told you a lot of technical things are there in HR which I was completely unaware of. But I started doing the course even before I went into HR. I did a course of MBA. I did an MBA in Human Resources Specialization with Sikkim Manipal University Distance Education. And I used to go for weekend classes. My Saturday, Sunday, I used to be off on Saturday, Sunday, and I used to go for classes to attend. And a lot of things I learned from there. So I did this course not for getting into the HR or not for getting into the job. only for my knowledge development.
Understood. So, Harold, let me ask you, in the current state, what is the biggest challenge that is keeping you busy?
The biggest challenge is attrition. Keeping the control of attrition is the biggest challenge at the moment, because I did not see this level of attrition even 3 to 5 years back. Post-COVID attrition levels are huge because a lot of startups have happened. Startups have come to all the cities, and the opportunities for the people is more. So, and people keep moving more than ever before.
Right.
So, keeping the people with us, keeping them retained is the major challenge. So, we have to really work hard to keep them engaged.
And Sonia, do you face a similar challenge, or you have something else?
Yeah, I would say attrition, but I see that there is this kind of an instability in people at this point of time. There is this entire, there is a very different thought process of earning more money and having a balanced lifestyle. The corporate culture, where you say that I work Monday to Friday and Saturday, Sunday off, and I also earn, like a fresher gets about 25-30,000 rupees salary. That's a trend is which we have been noticing, which I have been noticing in especially people, the freshers, the new bunch of kids who want to join. They want to start big. They want to start with a bang, and they also want to enjoy their life. Is what I have noticed and realized when we.
Great, but tell me lastly, what is your recommendation? What is a special tip for youngsters who you are dealing with on a day-to-day basis? One advice, one tip.
My tips for the youngsters is be patient, and perseverance is something will take you higher in your career. I'm giving you with my experience. I've been patient for long years to grow this career. It did not happen in a short period of time.
Okay, and Sonia, what's your tip for the youngsters?
My tip for the youngsters is take time, work hard, and it will happen at the right time. Okay, don't be in a hurry. And be stable. The most important thing is to be stable. You have to be there in one place. You have to be there at least for 2 years for everybody, for your benefit as well as for the company's benefit.
And should I just add to this by saying that sometimes you do not know what you really want to do when you start your career. You think that you were meant for F&B or you were meant for front office while you're in college, but you start to figure out that your interest really lies in something else because you start to observe your other colleagues more closely. And therefore, there is a great way that with a little bit of patience and perseverance, as Harold says, you can gradually make transition into that department or that area of work that really suits you and your personality and your interests. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, I absolutely agree, because why did I mean, I don't know about Harold, but I transitioned from one role to another. Okay, I did F&B, then I did front office, then I did training, then I did HR. So there are like 4 roles that I have transitioned. So this helped me in 2 ways. One is every time I spent time in a particular role, I knew what I was capable of and I knew what I wanted next. So I had to wait for that opportunity to get it. That is one. Second thing, by transitioning from one role to another role, I become very comfortable with coming out of my comfort zone and taking up new opportunities. And that's also very important as humans for us to make sure that we come out of our comfort zone and do something which is different and which is not normal. Okay, so that will help us develop and grow as human beings.
And so Harold, do you see yourself as an HR manager or as a senior manager or in the next 5 years?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So do you see yourself in HR in the next 5 years?
I want to go back to operations, so I want to see myself as a general manager in the next 5 years.
Fabulous. Okay. So, I mean, there were a lot of things that got spoken. Sonia spoke about her career, how she started and how she eventually transitioned. Harold obviously was from a different world altogether. He belongs to the world of microbiology, and from there he became a hygiene manager. His exposure into hotels, and thereafter his interest in human resources and entering that department at a certain level, learning from others, taking up courses and growing and becoming a full-fledged human resources manager today. He thinks that this is the place that he wants to see himself in the future. On the other hand, Sonia thinks is that the hotel in entirety is her play field and she could be moving into another generalist roles in the future as well. Finally, what I really want to sort of summarize and say is that the hotel industry is in itself a place where there are multiple careers that exist. It is in multiple departments and multiple things that people do. So this is a place which really nurtures a lot of talent from different spheres, and there is a lot of cross-pollination that happens. So it was really nice talking to both of you. Thank you very much. Right, and like I said, this is a time for sharing. It's time for Christmas. So be mindful, stay happy. Merry Christmas to all of you.
Thank you, Mawsam.
Merry
Thank you.
Christmas,
Merry
Mawsam.
Christmas to you and your family too. And Merry Christmas to everybody out there.
Yay, thank you.